And we're live. Welcome back, Shifties. Welcome back to Shift the Journey. I'm your host, Tito Amogus. Hey, this is a show where I get to interview somebody different each time, or sometimes I have returning guests, and it's like, hey, let's talk again. But the purpose of this show, I came up with this because I spent 20 years in the Air Force, and then I transitioned to civilian life, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I had some issues like trying to acclimate, searching for a corporate job. I got connected with one or two people that really helped me through my transition, and I thought, you know what? What's a way that I could help people who are looking for some type of career shift, some kind of major career change? Even a shift is a big thing. And I was like, you know what? My favorite way is through storytelling. So I'm going to bring people on here and they're going to tell about their career journeys. So in the midst of this, let's if you're watching and you have something to say, put something in the chat and we'll talk to you just as long as it's PG. My mom watches this, and I am sure that his parents are going to be watching this. So, one note: I am a Playfair Plus partner affiliate. So, if you want to help support my channel, please go to my YouTube channel and click on the link, and you'll get a 10% discount to help. I mean, to help you, yeah, to help me, but also the whole thing with Playfair Plus is that you know, level up your data skills, get a discount, help me out. I appreciate it. All right, on to the show. Here we are with our esteemed guest, Delton Chen. Delton and I go way back. We go back
Way
so
back.
far that we go back to before we were born. But so like the first time
Yeah,
I
you're gonna need to explain that.
yeah, well, nah, this is like family friends. Okay. So like
Yeah.
we go way back, we go so far as to like trying to remember. I think the first time I remember meeting you was at your house in Sebring in 1983.
Wow.
And then like from then on, it was like every other year. I thought every other year, and then like every year, like you guys were on the West Coast, and we go to the East Coast, back and forth, Lake Tahoe, Canada, Myrtle Beach, all this stuff with our friends, Barcata. So anyway, all right. So uh, I gave a little blurb on LinkedIn about, you started out in education, now you're a lawyer. But let's find out first off, where are you from originally?
So I was actually born in Baltimore, Maryland, where my parents met. As you know, my parents are both physicians, and they met in a hospital cafeteria, of all places. They both were recent immigrants, had only been in this country for a few years. They got married, had me shortly thereafter, my brother, and then moved down to Florida. So that's where you've met me, and where most of my childhood was spent was in Central Florida.
Yeah. Shout out Avon Park.
AP, AP, baby.
If anybody out there even knows where that is, I do because I've been there. So when you were growing up, did you have any aspirations, like any career aspirations?
Yeah, I mean, being so I was the firstborn son in an Asian family of doctors. So you can imagine that a lot of that was
Under pressure.
pre-programmed.
Du-du-du-du.
Seriously. I
Yeah.
like to tell the story. My dad was taking some training at Harvard University when I was first born, and so in my very first Christmas picture, I'm sitting in a Harvard onesie, like no pressure,
Oh
none at
my
all.
gosh.
Uh, and and so it was interesting. My goal in life has always been to help people and figuring out the best way to do that. And when I was in high school, I was a struggling student, and my parents really wanted me to be in advanced placement classes and that kind of thing. And I struggled, and you know, you talk about having people in your life that kind of help shape you. And I had guidance counselor became my mentor and still is to this day, some 35 years later, who advocated for me and said to my parents, like, look, Delton has other strengths. I had an affinity for leadership, an affinity for working with people and helping people. And to my parents' credit, they recognized that and allowed me to do what I wanted to do with the skills and the gifts that I had. And so originally, I wanted to work with kids.
Mhm.
I don't know if you knew this about me, Tito, but my first major was youth ministry, and I wanted to be a
No.
youth minister to work with kids. And when I moved here to I live now in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I went to this small uh, parochial school called Southern Adventist University, and affiliated with the Adventist faith. And because I was wanting to be a theology major, it made sense for me to go there. But within the first year, I realized real quick, I feel like ministry is a calling, and I didn't feel that call.
Hmm.
And so I transitioned kind of as you do in life. You talk about the journey. Sometimes there's forks in the road, and you have to make a decision. And I
Yeah.
decided to be an elementary school teacher, much to the chagrin of my grandfather.
Oh my gosh. How did you break the news? What was that like? You was
Well, it was
palms
interesting.
sweaty, like, oh
I,
man.
I remember telling my parents that I wanted to be an educator, and fortunately, my mother's father has a PhD in education,
Mhm.
and so education wasn't something that they could say, well, there's nothing you can do with education, because obviously my grandfather was a
Right.
university professor, and so my first goal in life was I was inspired by that counselor, and so I wanted to be a school psychologist originally. So finished my took took 6 years to finish my undergraduate in
Hey,
elementary education, and
gotta
took
do
the
what you
long way
gotta
around.
do.
That's right. You kids out there who feel like you have to rush into your life, like you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
And started my career as a middle school science teacher.
Middle school science. Is that when you were living up in like North Georgia, right?
Correct. I lived
Calhoun?
in Calhoun, Georgia. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
spent a lot
taught
of time in
there.
North Georgia. I love North Georgia.
It's beautiful,
I
absolutely
love
beautiful.
Georgia, actually.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah. Yeah, we
Go
lost this
Vols.
weekend, but we didn't lose to you. But anyway,
Yeah, okay. I was waiting for it.
yeah,
Waiting for it.
whatever,
Yeah.
so, Tennessee hasn't beaten Georgia in like 9 years. Georgia hasn't beaten Alabama except for one time. It was in 2021 or like in the last 8 or 9 meetings, except for 2021,
Well,
which was the championship after they lost in the SEC championship to Alabama. So
I'm gonna tell on you, because like when we were growing up as kids, we used to have this we used to have this debate of which was
yeah,
better,
we
the
did.
South or
Or
California,
California, right?
and you were all about California. I said, no, the
Yeah,
South is great. And then when you moved here and stayed here, I'm like, see,
yeah.
told you.
You win. You win at that. I'm telling you. Yes, no, I absolutely. You win at that. I mean, I joined the Air Force in 95, August of 95, and in December of 98, I moved to Mississippi. I was stationed down here at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi. And I was there for 7 months. And then I went to Warner Robins, Georgia for 10 and a half
Hmm.
years. Got married, got a family there. Two of my kids still live there. My grand boy lives there, was born
Congratulations.
there on Wednesday. And so I actually, yeah, on my journey, I almost transferred to University of Georgia, but ended up reenlisting instead. But let's get back to your journey, back to
Well, yeah,
Calhoun.
so I was in Calhoun, Georgia. I taught for about three years, and my goal, like I said, was to help people, and I thought of being a school psychologist to do that. And so, while I was teaching, I got a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and had all intentions of being a therapist, and got married during that time period. And my then wife wanted to be an attorney, and so followed her to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, go Vols. And next thing I know, I'm trying to find a job as a therapist. And when you live in a college town, if you didn't go to the university or you didn't graduate from that university, it's a little tough to compete with those graduates. But
Yeah.
I was working I had some internship hours that I was working on when I first moved there, and was working with the Department of Children and Families, and was doing play therapy with kids that were victims of abuse. And so I would
Mm.
end up going to court as potential witness. And I was sitting there going, my goal is to help this kid. And my hands are tied unless that attorney up there calls me to the stand. And I think I can do what that attorney's doing, and I think I can do a better job. And
Mm.
so said a little prayer. Prayed. I said, Lord, if this is where you want me, I'm going to take the LSAT one time. I'm only going to apply to the University of Tennessee because that's where my wife is at and is in school already. And when that acceptance letter came, I'm like, okay, here we go. And it wasn't an easy journey, if you will. That was a very
Yeah.
difficult academically. It's you hear these horror stories about law school, and while I thoroughly enjoyed my law school experience, it was some of the hardest academics that I had at that point, and made it through.
Yeah.
And now I've been an attorney longer than I've been anything else.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's now 21 years that I've been an attorney.
No.
And I still think of myself as an educator and as a counselor.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what I've done. We talk about journeys, and even if you're in a profession that you've done for a long time, there's still struggle within that.
Mhm.
I So the Florida bar is known to be one of the top three hardest bar exams in the country, behind along with New York and California.
Mhm.
And I had a job offer right out of law school to go back home to Central Florida, and went all the way back, moved into an apartment, and took the bar exam and missed it by 5 points.
Oh.
Five points, and
Oof.
that was gut wrenching, especially since the job was contingent on that. And so I lost that job,
Man.
and I had to study and wait 6 more months and try to
Wow.
financially survive until I had a chance to take it again. And thankfully, that second time around, I passed it with no problems.
Man.
Um,
That was
so I am not the strongest student. I like to say, Asians are known for their mathematic skills, and I said I am the world's worst Asian at math, which is why I went into law. Which
Oh
is funny
man.
because my specialty in law is in consumer protection and finance, so it's kind of funny that I make that joke because I deal with numbers every day.
That
Uh,
is really funny.
but yeah, my journey in this profession of law was a struggle. So my first job, like I said, I lost it because I didn't pass the bar the first time.
Mhm.
And then I've always had a heart for nonprofit work, and had been a legal. I had a fellowship in. I was awarded a fellowship in legal aid work my first summer of law school, and had worked with a legal aid agency in Orlando, Florida, for that summer. And so my next job, which I was studying for the bar while working for this law firm that did medical malpractice defense.
Mm.
Um, got past the bar. It was a very small firm. We had good intentions of the two attorneys there teaching me how to do things, and for me to help grow the practice. And unfortunately, that just didn't pan out. And
Hmm.
after 1 year, we parted ways, and I was left thinking, okay, what do I do now? And when I applied for a job in legal aid, there just so happened that my resume came across the desk of my former supervisor, and they're like, "Don't even worry about interviewing him; just hire him." And
Oh my
so
gosh, that's awesome.
that began my nonprofit work that I did for a good decade,
Oh wow.
um, helping consumers that were being sued uh, for debts, and
Yeah.
and it was right around the time of the mortgage foreclosure crisis, and so there was
Oh yeah,
all these
like
people that were needing help.
2007, 2008.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I started practice in 2005 and worked my way up. Um, Worked my way up through the ranks there at the legal aid organization to senior staff attorney. Um,
Mhm.
I was one step below the executive director, and then when the housing bubble burst, the funding dried up, and
Oh wow.
you know, I look at things a little differently when things don't go correctly, if correctly, quote unquote correctly.
Right.
Um, you know, I didn't pass the bar, lost a job, was working with another law firm, it didn't work out.
Mhm.
Working in legal aid, funding dries up. Then throughout my career, there have been all of these challenges, if you will, these tests, and I've always decided in my own head and my point of view that these are not um, disasters, but they're building blocks.
Yeah.
And over the course of my career, those instances where my career took a dip, or a job didn't work out, or whatever, I always looked at those as building blocks, because every single experience taught me something.
Mhm.
And if it didn't teach me something, it connected me with a group of people, which then led to the next opportunity.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like to tell young people is networking is not about kissing butts. It's about being curious about people. And when you'll find very quickly in life that if you're just curious about somebody, they're more apt to tell you about them, instead
Mhm.
of, you know, what are you trying to get out of me?
Right.
Uh, and I find that too when people approach me. We're at that age now, Tito, where it's like, yeah, I know you're trying to position yourself. It's not a,
Yeah.
I'm just curious about who you are and what you're about. And I think that's, what is that Ted Lasso line? Curiosity over judgment. And that is a very apropos statement. Like, if you're just curious about people, you'll learn so much more about humanity and about others. And
Mhm.
then you end up having people offer you things that you never would have thought of doing. So
Yeah. Yeah, I see your perspective as far as like not seeing dips or like bumps in the road as like really obstacles. It's easy to like if things happen within a short amount of time of each other, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or
yeah,
feel as if like, oh, the world's against me, or like, it just it's I've been there where it's like it feels like everything's just like going down, down, down. It's like, oh, where's the floor? I don't know. Nobody
right.
knows, right? But if you look at it with the perspective of like, what can I learn from this?
Mhm,
That's like really, you know, then everything really is a building block. Everything is a
mhm.
building block. Like when I
Well,
left the
it's a matter of perspective, right?
yeah,
It's all a matter of perspective.
yeah. When I left the Air Force, my first job out of the Air Force, I basically took like a 25,000 dollars. No, it was like 15, $20,000 pay cut. But like they didn't know what I did in the Air Force. They didn't know what I could bring. So then I'm like, okay, I have to prove my worth. But then at the same time, I can't just like always just be proving, 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 because then that's like annoying. Build relationships, learn what I don't know, master the things that I can master. and then
But it's
like move
also
on.
a lesson in, to use that as an example, if you're undervalued, realizing that at a certain point it's okay to let go and move on to
Oh yeah.
another opportunity.
Oh yeah.
And that's hard because
Oh
we as
yeah.
human beings don't like change. We like
No.
the comfort zone, right?
Oh yeah.
And as you know, I'm a man of faith, and I think sometimes God actually said, "Oh, you don't want to move? Watch this."
Oh, I know. Or sometimes he's like, "Oh, you want to move? Too bad." And so,
Right.
yeah, I mean, we tried to move like 2 years ago. We were going to move to North Carolina, and then we
Yeah.
did not move to North Carolina. We are still here in Mississippi, and
Well,
so
I'll share with you this, since we're talking about faith. I'll share with you when they say be careful what you pray for. Um, Years ago, it's probably been 8, 9, 10 years ago. I remember having a prayer where I said, "Lord, I want to work for this company, and I want to make this amount of money, and I want to one day live in Chattanooga, Tennessee." And at the time, I was living in Orlando, Florida.
mhm.
And all of a sudden, my life started to fall 5 years ago, 6 years ago. My life kind of fell in shambles with a divorce. And right as COVID was happening, but you know what happened? I ended up making that amount of money, working for the company, not in the company, but for the company that I had named. And I was relocated to Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was not the way I had asked, had anticipated my prayer being answered, but I can't refute the fact that it was answered.
Mhm.
And you know, it's funny being in my 50s now because I can look back on my life, and again, to the building block analogy, I can see where I couldn't see when I was in the moment,
Oh yeah.
how those instances were building blocks to eventually get me to where I am today.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I would say too for young people. It's like, especially when they're in their 20s, like y'all think that you know what's up and how the world works.
No.
Like you're just getting to.
No.
If
No.
I could tell my 20-year-old self what I know now,
Oh.
it's okay to struggle. It's okay to try different things and figure out what works for you. You're not going to get it perfect. Yeah, I think one of the things that I have really latched onto, even at this age, to try new things, is like you're not going to be a master at something the first go. You got to give it a try and then see if it's really for you. The more you go at it, the more you'll master it. And if it's not for you, also recognizing that too,
Yeah.
that you can try something and it may not be the right thing for you, but
Yeah.
being open to it.
And humble.
And that's
It takes
yeah,
humility.
you got to be humble. It does take humility.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get fearful of change. I
Oh
still
yeah.
get fearful of change. And, but growth, that's all. It's the person that I am today is not the person I was 5 years ago. And it's not the person I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person that you met back in the 80s
You're
as a
not?
kid.
What? I don't
Tito,
believe
don't you
it.
know?
I don't believe it. One thing it's like throwing me off. I never, unless like I'm talking to my family, I never
Yeah.
hear anybody call me by my name with the correct pronunciation. This is crazy. This is insane. What's
Hey,
happening?
man, we go way back. We go way
Yeah.
back.
Oh yeah, we do. Yep. We yeah. Oh, I still tell people all the time that they're like, "Well, when did you start playing cello?" And I was like, summer of '86." And I said, "By the way, this cello that I have was given to me after I played in a wedding in the place of the guy who was supposed to be playing in the wedding." Right? It was Jeannie Martin's wedding, right? One of the
I
Martin
think
girls'
so.
wedding.
Yeah.
And it was and then like we were leaving. That was the year we went to Myrtle Beach because you had just graduated from
Oh
high
yeah.
school. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
1990.
yeah, and then like when we were leaving, your dad was like, "Oh, he's not Delton's not taking it to college. So why don't you guys just take it home?" I was like, "What? I got a free cello. Are you kidding me? free cello, and then also got like a $25 gift certificate for playing in that wedding that you didn't play in that you were supposed to play in. So
Hey, it was meant to be for sure. It was
yeah.
meant to be.
Man, and you know what? That trip was so crazy. Like a lot of things about that trip, obviously, like I'm a teenager. There's all these different things happening that like it makes it really memorable. And one of the things was driving up to Myrtle Beach, singing Chicago's greatest hits at the top of my lungs. Now I
Well,
can't sing it now; it's too high now. What the heck, man?
it's funny when I hear certain songs from the '80s. I think of so many friends from childhood, and a lot of those are with you and your family. Uh,
Yeah.
and so we had so many great road trips over the years when we were kids. Those are great memories.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
a,
yeah.
a funny little story. I remember telling someone, I've never been to Yosemite, and all of a sudden I saw this picture of all of us on one of our road trips, and there was Yosemite in the back. I'm like, well, I guess I have been to Yosemite.
I think that had to have been the Tahoe trip, right?
It was it was
We did we go to Hearst Castle too? We went to Solvang, the
yes,
little like Dutch
that
or
was a
Danish whatever
that was
village.
that was also, I think, the trip where this is before the days of cell phones. I went to the bathroom and everyone left and didn't realize I wasn't in charge for like
I
30, 40 minutes.
forgot about that. Oh my
All of a
gosh.
sudden, as the story goes, all the parents are like, "Is Delton in your car?" With CB radios. Delton in your
Yeah.
car? And then all of a sudden they realized, oh, we left him. So,
Oh no. I forgot about that. That's
yeah, it's
crazy.
hard for me to forget that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure.
But it's funny because back in those days, kids would be like, now they would call and text or whatever. I just sat there and went, they'll figure it out sooner or later, and I just sat in the lobby and waited.
Oh man. Where was it that we left you?
Oh gosh, if you were to name the town in California, I'd remember, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It wasn't the little like village, the Danish or Dutch village, whatever it was. Solvang?
What? No, it wasn't
No.
Solvang, but it was
Okay.
on that trip. It was on
Okay,
that
yeah.
trip.
Yeah, that's it's somebody I remember one time my sister was telling a story about how we were all together, all the Color family, and we walked
Yeah.
into like a buffet. And like there were people like we were already seated, and there were people who came in after us. I don't know if it's like a Chinese buffet or whatever, but the people are like, "There's no rice left. What the heck?" And they look over, and we're all like, "I don't know, man. It wasn't
That's
me,
funny.
right?
That's
It
funny.
wasn't me. There's like 25 of us or whatever. Everybody got rice. I'm sure of it.
That's
I'm sure of
funny.
it. Oh man.
Well, back to journeys. The last 5 years uh, here in Chattanooga, after getting divorced and having to get used to being single again for the first time in good grief, 25 years.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a whole nother journey.
Mm,
Um, and for me, it's been super interesting how, like chapters in a book,
mm-hmm.
it's another chapter, and I take all the lessons and all of the experience and all the wisdom from the previous chapters, and then create and write my own story in this next chapter of my life. And it's been so funny because and you've seen my social media. It's like 6 years ago, I wasn't known for being this foodie traveler or whatever. And
Right.
in the last 5 or 6 years, here I am in a position where I have a great job making a solid living and have nothing but time.
Yeah. Yep.
And I never had children, and I don't have a dog, and it's been great to be able to experience life in a different way. And it's funny. I've had friends of mine. It's like, oh, it must be great. I'm like, don't envy this. It's just a different life.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing to remember. If any young people are listening to this, comparison is the thief of joy. Your journey is going to be your journey, and it's not
Right.
going to look like anyone else's. And
Right.
once you accept the fact that your journey is unique and it's special and it's a beautiful journey, that that is that is an individual kind of thing, and just enjoying being present in your life.
Yeah.
Because the moment you start, you know, regret kind of leaks in sometimes.
Yeah.
And the past is past. That's why it's called the past. And you live in the present. The future, you can plan up to a certain extent, but don't worry about that.
Yeah.
As the Bible says, like, tomorrow will take care of itself.
Yeah.
If you focus on today and being present in the moment, like we're doing right now, like having this conversation and being in the middle of it and being in it,
Mhm.
um, that's where the real living is.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's good stuff, man. It really is good stuff. Yep. Um, yeah, I was thinking about like everybody's journey is different.
Hmm?
I was 40. Was I already 40? Yeah, I was 40 years old when I retired from the Air Force. I was also a month before that was when I finally graduated with my bachelor's degree. And so like I had goals before, getting out of the military. And I'm looking at all my peers, everybody I grew up with, people had degrees for years and years and years. And I'm like, I'm on a different path, bro. It's
Hmm.
like I'm on a different path. I live in a different state. I have different goals. I have different aspirations. My experiences are different than if I would have stayed in Riverside. Like 100%, 100%. No, I think if I had stayed there, I would have still been saying, "Oh, California's the best." Nah, I it's when we visited. We visited last fall. I was like, "Why am I thirsty? I'm so thirsty because it's so dry. I need some humidity in my life. Do I like it when it's like 80 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning with 100% humidity? No. Does anybody? I don't know if anybody does, but what I do like about it is that I moved to Mississippi in 2009, the first time.
Yeah.
2009. No, it was the second time in 2009. And I left in 2015 and I came here with one bottle of lotion and I left with the same bottle of lotion because it's not dry enough to put on lotion. then
That's
I then I
hilarious.
moved to Tennessee where people are like, "Oh, it's so humid here." I'm like, "What? It's like 30 to 30%, 40%. This is actually pretty good." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, hop in the car. Let's go. Let's go down south. I'm gonna show you something."
Well, that's
Right?
yeah, living in being from Florida, every time and I go back pretty often during the year.
Yeah.
Uh, when I fly into Orlando, it's always that same experience. You get
Yeah.
on the jetway, and it's almost like this wall of humidity hits you, smacks you in the face.
Yeah.
Uh,
Getting punched in
but
the
it's
chest with a wall of
interesting.
water.
Yeah, it's interesting about the journey part too, because like so in November, I'm going to my 35th high school reunion,
Whoa, you're old.
and thanks, man.
Listen, I
It's all
graduated 2
good.
years behind you. I know, I get it.
It's all good. You're good. Um, but it's interesting because, again, like everyone's journey is different. I have friends that are grandparents. I have friends
Me?
that have lost lost spouses. I've had friends that have been divorced. I have, all of our journeys are unique, and it doesn't make them better or worse. They're just ours. And it's
Yeah.
like if we can own that, like own the fact that this is ours, and make and build, like you talked about having goals.
Yeah.
Like you can still have goals and try to do interesting things even at our age. Which again, it's funny when I think when I thought about my parents at my age, I'm like, wow, they were so old, and now I'm
I
like,
know.
wow, I don't feel that old at all.
No, no.
Um, but that's another thing, you know, the age is just that number.
Mhm.
You can be as old, I know some 30-year-olds that act older than I do, and it's
Yeah.
not a maturity or immaturity thing. It's just there's it's what is important to you in life, right?
Hmm.
Like, what do you enjoy doing? And it's a little harder when we get to be our age.
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't mean, I think, who was it? Keanu Reeves, I think, had said something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like you can still do the same things. It just takes more recovery, and
Oh yeah.
you have to be much more conservative in how you do movements because
Yeah.
it's just a part of life, man.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah. Recovery is like huge thing. When you go down to
100%.
when you go down to Florida, you fly though. You don't drive, right?
I do both.
Yeah.
I do both.
So like when we go to Tennessee, go visit the family, a lot of times we stay overnight somewhere because it's just too much already. I'm like,
Yeah.
so like comparatively, like I was 15 when my dad was this age, right? And I was
Yeah.
thinking about that. I'm like, dude, if I had a 15-year-old, I would be dead. I'm like, he'd be running me around. I'm like, oh, I don't have that kind of energy. You know,
Yeah.
I got like grandpa energy, which is great because I'm a grandpa. So
Grandpa energy. Oh, you're younger than I am. What do you mean, grandpa energy? Come on
man,
now.
I have a grandson. Come on now. So I can say I got grandpa energy. Yeah, no, but I mean, like where I work,
Yeah.
it's a mile walk, not even a joke. Mile walk from my car to my desk. And so I get in 2 miles a day. But
That's
that
great.
being said, I go at my pace because I got grandpa energy. But oh
Well,
man.
it's all about efficiency at
Yeah.
this point in our
Oh yeah,
lives, right?
definitely. Definitely.
Uh,
It's not about
that
speed,
so
man.
the Chattanooga Ironman was yesterday here in town, and it's been 11 years since I did Ironman. And it's funny, every year I go to this race and I go look at and watching all these great athletes out there, all ages, older than me, younger than me, and I keep thinking to myself, man, I'd love to do that again. And then I think
I
about
was
how much
wondering.
time it takes to
Yeah.
train for something like that. And
Yeah.
it's interesting. I had my coach when I first moved here. I always wanted to do the race here in Chattanooga, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about training me?" And he goes, "Why?" Which kind of shocked me. He
Yeah.
goes, "You've done it already. Why would you have other things in life you want to experience and you
Yeah.
want to do?" And I was very grateful that he said that because there are so many different things that I want to experience in life while I still can.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I look at folks that are, 20, 30 years older than me, and physically they have a hard time moving and doing the things that I'd like to do. And so,
Yeah.
part of that journey is realizing what your limitations are and
Oh yeah.
whether they be physical or otherwise, and uh, being able to do the things you want to do when you can.
Hmm.
Because we're at that age where I hate to admit it, but there are less years ahead of us than behind us.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm living to 100. If I do, that'll be a miracle. Um,
Hey, my
because like
grandfather lived to 101.
if I have grandpa energy now, what's that going to be like in 50 years? But yeah, anyway, yeah, it was but I digress. It's been great having you on. Um I wasn't sure, when I have people sign up, people who I know, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure which Delton I was going to get.
What
Crazy,
do you mean?
crazy,
Whoa.
uncontrollable, all over the place, or the reserved professional Delton who showed up. Look at this. Melvin Delton Chen, everybody.
You did say it
But-
was live, so I had to make
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's live. No, I mean, it's really funny
Well,
though. Like what?
I will say this, like one of my greatest joys in life is mentorship. And
Mhm.
so um throughout my career, especially in my legal career, I've been more than happy to mentor young people that are interested in the law or interested in how our laws govern everything. And
Mhm.
I'm very fortunate. My alma mater, my undergraduate and graduate alma mater is right here in Chattanooga, and so I often volunteer to talk to students that are pre-law. That I take them to the University of Tennessee to visit with the law school and with the
Oh, that's
faculty
cool.
and
Yeah.
things there. And because to me, I didn't have any lawyers in my family. I had no
Yeah.
one to guide me, no one to mentor me, and so whenever I have that opportunity, I love to take that. When I
Yeah.
was in Orlando as a legal aid attorney, we have two law schools in Orlando, and the word got out like, hey, there's this guy named Delton, and he's willing to talk to law students. And so I had a lot of interns come through my pro. I ran an internship program for law school students in the summer and college students that were interested, and it just gives me a lot of joy to be able to share because, like I said in the beginning, my goal has always been to help people, and
Mhm.
um, that's that has always been the main focus for me.
Yeah.
If I can extend a helping hand to somebody, I'm more than happy to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Me too. I'm not a lawyer, but
You don't have to be a lawyer to help people,
I'm
Tito.
just joking. I'm just joking. Hey, that's my passion, which is why we're here to
Yes, it
begin with.
is.
I love helping people out. I love helping
Yeah.
people and sharing my experience so that they could take whatever value out of my experience and
Mhm.
go have experiences of their own and then pay it forward. I
Absolutely.
love it. I love it when I can help somebody who is then able to help somebody else. That's like,
Well, and
oh,
it's
just
funny.
right there.
I'm at the age now where, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, I was an elementary school teacher, and I am now at that age where some of my former students, my former middle school students, are now attorneys and have
Oh
had
wow.
careers. And
I thought you were gonna say
it's
that your former students' kids are now attorneys.
well,
Probably,
that's
huh?
not too far. That's not too far off.
Woo!
Um,
That's
but I
crazy.
remember the very first. I remember the very first time I had one of them call me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I was wondering if you could give me some advice on law school." I'm like, "What do you mean? You're 14?" It's like, "No, I just graduated from college." I'm like,
Oh
"Wait,
my
what?"
gosh, yeah.
And yeah, but it's like I said, it's one of the joys in life to be able to help and share with people, and um, yeah,
Cool, man. Well, once again, man, I'm super thankful that you were able to come on the show finally
I
after
love the
me
opportunity.
me
Thank you.
hounding you forever, trying to like all the technical difficulties this afternoon. But here we are. We made it. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, but don't go anywhere because
Okay,
I still want to talk to you in the studio. But
absolutely.
everybody else, let's see. Next week we have a guest. We have another veteran, James Ezelgroth. I hope I said that right. We've had a conversation already, and if I mispronounce your name, I deeply apologize. I get mine mispronounced every day, but I'm not trying to put that on you. But James Ezelgroth is gosh, he spent more than 20 years in the Air Force, and he's in the corporate world doing some data things. So tune in next week at 6 p.m. Central. But until then, peace. See you guys.